Welcome to the manhole.
Welcome, welcome.
Got your drink, pour it up. Got your
Yeah,
fired up.
yeah, cuz you know what time it is.
It's about that time to do what we always do. Try to save the world.
You know how it go.
How your week been?
Man, it's been real, man. Uh been walking the journey, man, with some good brothers of mine, man. Helping each other deal with certain things in life and just finding that appreciation in each other. To know we're here for each other, man, when we need each other in ways what a brother is all about, man. So, the week been powerful in that, man.
Yeah, that's why. That's why this week I wanted to talk about relationships. You know what I mean? All kind of relationships, friendships, relationships. A lot of different ships.
Yeah. That's like I say, man. That's what life is about, man. Relationships, man. One time I talked about how my wealth lies in my relationships. We all we got, we all we need, and the connection between us, we, ours, and all those type of things is your ability to build solid relationships, man.
Right.
Like you say, different kind of relationships. That's where your wealth lies, man. Your name is one of the most valuable things you possess. And if you keep that good through powerful relationships, like they say, God is always on time, man. And I mean that by the people that we share this reality with, that give just as much as they get in the cipher, man.
Yeah, I feel like long as your energy pure, you connect with pure people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people got it confused right now, though. It's even with the relationships, a lot of women complain about the men they get. That's the energy that you draw into you. You know what I'm saying? That something need to be rerouted if all you pull into you is negative energy.
You attract what you are.
Right.
You hear the saying, they say, if you want to know a person, look at the people they be around and look at their friends. I agree with it, and to a certain extent, but for the most part, you're a reflection of the company you keep.
Right. Yeah. It's funny that excuse me. This thing is real. It's funny because I keep watching a lot of Kevin Samuels shows, different shows, man, and it's like people don't seem to understand what he's saying. It's like basically the men right now, they want the women. They want to be able to date in the same race, but it's like the black women don't understand the black man. It's like they're so far divided right now that, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's so divided right now, man, that it's like we almost lost tune with each other. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not all it's not all of it's not all the males, it's not all the females, but it's the majority of it right now. It seems like everything you see on TV, everything you see on the internet is feeding that bullshit narrative that men ain't shit.
Yeah. Well, man, when you get into like the entertainment aspect of it, man, they always pull on the strings, on the emotional strings of black people, man. And like you hear conversations about how the black family has been broke down. I think in the 1960s or something like that, the black family had a high percentage of being represented as the husband, the wife, the children in a home. And, over the years that has deteriorated, and the values of that have been lost. So in our generation, you know, like I said, I'm 41. I'll be 42 next month. In my generation, we know that crack destroyed a lot of our parents. So when that came in with that epidemic, and it tore up a lot of structures, man, and it left a lot of people with hurt in their heart for their fathers. It caused us to watch a lot of our mothers go through certain things. So in our generation, man, it's simple as we ain't never saw true balance between a black man and a black woman. Now I say we. Now personally, I was raised with my mama and my daddy. But when I say we, I don't disconnect myself from the worst or the best, because I represent all of us, because ain't nobody above the bullshit. And if I don't understand where we come from and how we got here, then I can be in the same situation, man, going against my black woman, creating a situation where my kids don't understand balance. So we are a product of that, man. And a lot of people just don't know how to be true women and true men because they ain't never seen it, man. They ain't never understood it. They ain't never felt what that shit feel like. So, yeah, Kevin Samuels can make a whole brand about how black men and black women hate each other, man, and how we got our minds twisted because, like I say, man, we fucked up, cuz.
Actually, I think it's like I say, it go back to that energy, man. It go back to the energy, and it go back to self-love. Because if you know you don't want bullshit happening to you, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand why you put that out in the atmosphere and have it come back to you. Because karma is real, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's real, and shit, you can believe it or not, but you put bad energy out, you're gonna get bad energy back.
Yeah,
and it don't have to necessarily be in the form that you put it out.
Yeah. You know, they say what goes around comes around.
Right.
And a lot of times when we hear things like that, we automatically give it a negative connotation and say, yeah, we talk about karma. Anytime you hear karma, you always think of somebody did some fucked up shit. So yeah, some fucked up shit coming back to them. But like you say, that works on both sides of the coin. As much as we can understand that in a negative way, it works in the same way as positive. If I put out love, man, and all I ever give is love, then I hold my head high because I don't want to miss what's coming back to me. Right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you say, great givers make great getters.
Yeah.
You know, you give, man, and it comes back to you, you know, like you say, cuz. So when we use words like karma, and we use words like phrases like what goes around comes around, yeah, if you sideways and always got darn unsincere and dishonest, then you gonna always attract those people that's a reflection of that. So what goes around comes around. But if you got the light, man,
yeah,
always attract people that's seeking the light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just big division right now, man, on who got it harder and who struggled the worst and shit. It's like even when Ice Cube came out with the America Black Plan thing, you know what I mean? He was implementing that for all blacks, and black women separated themselves, and you know what I mean, and like they got their own little movement going on, and I don't know, man. It's like they feed into the narrative of all this entertainment shit going on in Hollywood and all this other, especially the churches. You know what I'm saying? All this shit. They don't need a man. They can have Jesus and all this. I mean, right now, yeah, like you say, we fucked up, man. But and see, you know, even going back to that who got it hard and shit, it's hard on both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard on women going through whatever they got to go through. I can't really touch on it. I'm not a female, but I was just sitting and thinking the other day. I say it's actually males out here right now in relationships walking on eggshells for their rent man can't, you know what I'm saying? So their rent man won't see them, and they,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
get put out on their ass, goddamn, for trying to do the right thing and take care of their family and shit.
yeah.
You know, and you know, it's hard on both ends. We out here dying, they dying, you know. Shit,
Yeah.
if we can't do it together, man, we ain't gonna get it together. Period.
You know, man, the true, like, from a religious aspect, the true Trinity, man, is the mother, the father, and the child, right?
Yeah.
That's the true Trinity, right?
That's where the art was created.
And it's like when you talk about polarity, man, one represents the ground, the other represents the positive energy. They call Mother Earth because she grounds all things that birth out of nature. You understand? That's why we call it the ground, right? Mm. So when you understand, those are the same attributes of the woman. You see, the man, it brings it in. If you understand, even through sex, we grown. The man brings in to the earth and lets go. So he adds, man, that's the hot wire. So right. When you understand how this works, they connect and produce me and you. And that's how we all make it, man. That's how we all come to be, through this Trinity. But we can all right now say, man, and we say this to each other, man, these kids fucked up, man. These kids messed up, man. It don't make no sense. Ain't nobody got no morals. Ain't nobody got no respect. And when I say ain't nobody, I'm talking about what's represented of us from perspective of TV, media, what we see. We go to the mall. We always see the negative. So we all can agree, man, it's fucked up. But we don't understand that is a result between these two connections. Go loosen your negative battery cable on your car. It don't work and it ain't gonna malfunction right. And even if you got an alternator, it's only gonna meant to carry for a certain amount of time. So when we look at why we messed up, why is the black man and the black woman going against each other? Somebody has convinced us that the connection between us ain't important. And as much as they has convinced us, and we are out our mind to promote these ideologies and live these ideologies, we can't recognize enough to see, man, that our babies are suffering.
Right, right.
We keep looking at the news saying, man, it's fucked up. But them your cousin kids, them your brother kids, them your sister kids, them your nephews, your kids.
They so worried about their sex life, man. Ain't nobody even thinking about the children right now. That's why they so easy to push that sex shit off on the children with that pedophilia bullshit. And man, I'm telling you, it all go back to, you know, the brainwashing, man. Everything we've been told been a damn lie. And that's every goddamn thing. You know what I mean? Even to the way we love our women. That shit crazy.
Man, hey, like I say, man. You know, we act like we don't see it, cuz once again, we act like we don't see it, man. We act like we don't see it, but we know it's real, and we know why it's real. You know, sometimes we can have superficial. I had these conversations with men, and some men act like I'm being too extra by these type of analogies, but they are what they are. Let's just say my wife, as a man, in my most vulnerable moments, nobody sees that but my wife.
Yeah.
She knows me more than anybody on this planet Earth, because for 20 years, man, she has saw me in my most sincere, vulnerable moments, and we share that with each other. And we lay down every night under those premises, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I can get up and leave my wife and go deceive her, dishonor her, and have no remorse whatsoever. And everybody know this about me and know that what she mean to me. And they watch me deceive her, dishonor her. Now here's the point. How dare another man know me and expect any honor out of me or any loyalty or respect out of me for anybody else in this entire world when the person who deserves it most don't get it?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go out here all day, man, and hang with the homeboys, and goddamn, I got my homeboy back and all this bullshit, and goddamn be neglecting the house the whole time.
You know, cause a man is as real as his reason, right?
Yeah.
A man will conquer the world. A man will destroy the world based off his reason. And nothing gives a man more of a reason than a woman. A man can say, nah, cuz it's my kids. They come by way of the woman, man.
Right.
You know,
man, they're out here breaking their neck to get money. They getting it to impress a woman. Point blank period.
I'm telling you, man. So a man is as real as his reason.
Right.
A man is as real as his reason.
It's fucked up though. It's gotta be. It's all still behind the dollar bill though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fucked up.
Well, you know, that's what it take, man. That's what it take. But even when you put the dollar bill in its proper perspective, okay, we know what it represents. We know what it don't represent. But what we got to understand, money is a result of action. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Money is a result of action. So if we want to put it in its proper perspective to say how much we value money in terms of our morals, in terms of our respect, then we have to double down on the actions we put forth in life to keep money in its proper perspective. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I said, I'm one to say, man, I ain't money driven. But as a man, I rise up every day with the actions to create money to maintain my family. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And without it, you can't pay them damn bills.
You see what I'm saying?
And without paying them bills, I don't know how much of family you got.
So my reason behind that is my wife and my children.
Right.
If you want to know why I'm on the grind before the sunrise, and why I'm still on the grind before the sun down, it's because of my reason. I'm as real as my reason. And see, when you align yourself with other brothers and sisters who have the same reason, see, that's when community form. We have a common sense of unity. So now we can form amongst like-minded people because, hey, brother, why you grind? Because I got to provide, protect, profess for my woman and my children. And see, that's when the connection there. Now, women, if you got a man that understand this and love you, and you know you give him the reason, say your desire, say his desires become your prayers. My wife prayed for a new house. I strategize, work, and save to manifest us to be in position to get a new house. That's how it works. So ladies, when you got a man that truly loves you and admire you and accept you as his reason, and you ain't got shit, then it's cause you ain't want shit. But that goes into woman's virtue, to understand a woman and to understand being a woman, for a woman to understand what it is that a woman really wants and needs. Because if you understand that,
that's the hard part.
Yeah, everything you want and need is designed to make your husband and your children stronger.
but they can't even tell you what they want to eat. Yeah, so they, you know what I mean. So not all of them, but you know what I'm saying, most of them. So I mean, you just got to be honest. You know, a lot of us, you know, men and women weren't taught how to love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
We were taught how to get out here and lust real hard and goddamn create a bunch of children. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what it is. That's what it is.
You know, but me and you talked about this earlier. I talked about man versus mankind.
Yeah.
And how the connection is kind of lost, right?
Yeah.
And when I say man, I'm talking about the natural way, the connection, the true Trinity, mother, father, and child. That's the Trinity of God. That's it. You see what I'm saying? The family, right?
The connection.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. You know, I represent it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every day, you know. So when you understand that, right, and you say, well, how you got here? My mom and my daddy fucked. You know what I mean, man? Well, right. I hope they didn't fuck. I hope they made love and I came. And I believe they made love. Look at me. Life is love. Love is life. So that's why we hear phrases like, man, I love to make love. Because when you make love, the result of making love is life, right?
Right.
But all life come by way. Some people fucked. And that's why you got some people out here who fucked up. Wasn't no emotions behind the connection. Wow. Life come out. But not to get so deep. But in the old way of man, that's how man was made. Through
that's the only way, through man and woman.
But now you got mankind. Ain't no dick and pussy got to touch at all.
Oh yeah,
we got a whole generation of people.
Test tube babies.
And all this technology now. Yeah. Where they have found a way to evade the order of God. And I say God, I'm talking about nature.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The laws of nature.
The sperm, the
egg. To evade that. So when you invade that and you don't make the connection in the divine order, see these mankind, and we got a whole generation now. Like you say, in reality, you can have a child who has to explain to his great-grandmama that my mama didn't carry me in her body. My mama put me in another woman's body. And I came out of her, but my daddy is get all fucked up. Like you said, that's a different kind of man right there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man versus mankind.
Yeah.
Us too, you know what I mean? There ain't no shit to believe. That ain't nothing to talk crazy about. So I said that to say, when you get out of order, anytime something is out of order, it has a malfunction. That's why when you see a soda machine and it say out of order, that means it's malfunctioning. It ain't working, right? So when you get out of order, man, when your life becomes out of order, when you ain't connecting the divine order, man, that shit got a malfunction.
Yeah.
And look around, man. Look around, man. Look at
it's definitely there to see.
Look at these beautiful black women.
Yeah,
who have careers, who have everything that they says to be successful, but they lonely raising children. And I be like, how she have herself so much together, but then she fell victim to a sucker motherfucker that would make children and not take care of them.
See, that goes back to they believe in the society bullshit that men ain't shit and all they need is Jesus. We've been fed that bullshit. They've been brainwashed for a long time, man, with this religion, and they holding on to something and somebody that's not coming back to save them. You know,
Yeah,
and they dying alone with dogs, like Kevin Samuels say. Hey, I'm saying it's sad though, man, because without us being together, the race fucked up. Really, to be honest with you, if you
yeah.
know, if we can't get it together.
You know what the religion do, man? See, this is how black people use religion, right? Black people use religion when they want to evade accountability, right?
Right.
One time, I had this big squabble with a whole bunch of preachers, and we was on a radio show together. And so they kept asking me, they said, "Who made you?" I said, "My mom and my daddy." They said, "No, who made you?" I said, "My mom and my daddy." So I'm throwing back, I'm making them think, but I won't say what they want me to say because that's what they need to understand about me. I ain't playing the damn game.
Right.
I said, so I told him in Genesis, I say, I'm made in the image and likeness of my mom and my daddy. I look and act like my mom and my daddy. That's who made me. Right?
Yeah.
So when we accept that, then we are accountable for the product that we cultivate, we made. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you don't want to accept the accountability of that, my Lord and Savior, Heavenly Father, he a child of Jesus. So now that's why we form community groups. Save the children. Save the children. Man, we got to save the youth. I say, how about we go goddamn knock on their mom and daddy door and damn near make them get their mind right so they can save their own children.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
You see what I'm saying? But when we don't want to deal with that, Jesus in place. You see what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
I let go. Goddamn, it ain't me no more. If the motherfucker go kill a motherfucker, I don't care. I put him in Jesus' hands. I'm washing my hands with it. I ain't got no more accountability.
If these preachers wasn't trying to get shit, my camera went out on my head. If these preachers wasn't trying to get the fuck everything in the church, they should be telling that bullshit. They should be telling them the truth, you know what I mean? Instead of goddamn trying to get in the draws, they should be telling them to get a good man, you know what I'm saying, and love that man and not try to fight with that man because they supposed to be our peace. You know what I mean? That's what a woman's supposed to be to a man is their peace. You know what I'm saying? And then that even come to even laying down and being able to create life. You know what I'm saying? When I feel much at peace when you know, after I've been done try to create life. You know what I'm saying?
Amen. Hey man, like I told you, man, see from the aspect of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I just told you that the Trinity, man, and I ain't talking about a religion. I ain't talking about nothing. I'm talking about me and you, my mama, my dad, and me and my wife and my children.
Right.
Trinity is mother, father, child. That's the psychology of life. You understand? He who turns or she who turns the key shall live forever. Me and my wife turned the key 2 times. We got a son and a daughter. If we raise them to understand the order in this divine cipher that they are a part of, then they too shall turn the key. And we will continue to be born again. See how that works? This ain't got nothing to do with belief. This ain't got nothing to do with reading. This got something to do with me and you. But when you get out of order, see, you got a malfunction. So when we say religion fucks with our mind, you already got to look at the order of the foundation. Now, the cross ain't got the woman at the top in the Christian religion. And I'm talking about Christian because that's what got a majority of our mind, right?
Yeah.
But the cross ain't got a woman at the top. So you say, whoa, they say Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Who has a problem with my wife or my mama? See what I'm saying?
The Bible.
But what you don't understand is, see, they took the woman out and they put a wee little thing up there. Because the bottom of the cross, this right here,
yeah,
represents the Father. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So put a wee little thing up there. Place of my woman. And then they tell you that the mascot of this, the perfection of this as a man, ain't never have a woman, was a virgin, never made kids.
Right.
So I had a joke one time. I say, well, y'all want me to be like Jesus and ask Jesus what he do. He ain't never had no woman. And I know heaven to be inside of my wife. So when it's time for me to go to heaven, I tell Jesus, get your ass at that door. Don't you come in here. You don't know nothing about it here.
Just that do you want to.
You know what I'm saying, man? So in that, man, we got to understand order. You know what I mean, man? You got to understand order.
Yeah.
And when we talk about order, it's a difference in this order. Okay, we know reality says that all relationships may not last romantically in that way. But even in that, you got to be mature enough to know that your connection to that man and that woman is greater than you. It's about what it produced. It produced love, source, power. It produced me. It produced you. So we must honor our part of this cipher, our turn of this wheel. And that's why we're looking at what we're looking at, man, with everything going on with us. We got women thinking they men. We got men thinking they women. We ain't got nobody connected to nothing real.
Shit, that's what the manhole for. That's why we got the manhole, because we're not pushing that narrative over here. I'm gonna tell you like this right here. All day today, man, I've been watching got this little app on my phone, the news channel.
Yeah.
They've been pushing this commercial about the hair, color of the hair, and all this shit, man. Having colored hair don't make you unprofessional. It's like everybody want to do their own thing, but don't nobody want to be reprimanded. You know what I'm saying?
Cause I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Like I told you, I love you because one of the reasons that I love you and I admire you is when I got to connect with my big cousin, I realized, and you showed me, the relationship between you and your son and your woman. And I admired that. And I had a son, my son younger than your son. So it was like, I admire any man that could show me the balance with intentions of trying to cultivate themselves through their son, right?
Yeah.
Well, I admire that about you, man. Regardless of anything else, they say you see the good in people. I saw the good in you, and it was enough to make me cling on to learn from you, right?
Yeah.
So in that, we share something alike. So I see myself in you, and you see yourself in me.
Right.
But in today's time, everybody want to be different.
Yeah.
So the more different I am, the more alone I am, the more outcast I am, and the more nobody can relate to me, the more I can see myself in nobody else I'm dealing with. And if I can't see a reflection of myself in you in positive, in love, in light, in honor, then I'm going back to the relationships. Then I ain't got no healthy relationships. And I'm sitting out here all alone, feeling fucked up. And see, that's the difference between our old grandparents. They ain't have nothing to make themselves different. They all had the same thing. They all did the same thing. So your grandmother knew how her daughters felt.
Yeah.
Your granddaddy knew how his brothers felt because we all the same. And that's how it is now. But we don't, but like you say, we don't know how to be vulnerable to each other. We don't know how to be sincere. Hey, brother, I got a black woman that I love in 2021, and I'm a black man, and you do too. And the same things that goes against us to fuck up this bond, we all fighting this shit.
Yeah.
So if you don't think I know your struggles and you know mine, then your mind probably fucked up on some bullshit.
That's the problem. That's what's wrong with people. Just like Jay-Z say, they looking at me mugging because they know they vulnerable, and they think you see that in them. And that's why they gotta act so tough, and that's why they got a mean mug, because they think you see the vulnerability that's in them.
Man, I know so many relationships and marriages that have ended and still going through some shit right now where they scared to be vulnerable to each other. And it's like they having a toughing match. I'm going to do this right here. Fuck that. I ain't going to give in. And it's like a come back and cry his soul out. And she on the other side. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do this back. Then go cry her soul out. And it's like they're going to stab each other just to be stabbing each other when really they both want to tell each other, hey, I'm hurting. I'm hurting too. Hey, I need you. I need you too. But the fact that we can't be vulnerable to each other, we continue to act like we don't hurt. And we just perpetuate that. And the kids watch that, man. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what's messed up. To have a plan going into a relationship knowing that it might not last. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy. Like you can't even go into a relationship and plan to hold on to it for a long time. You gotta be thinking of you know what I mean, how you gonna handle yourself when that relationship over with. Cause I used to sit back and I used to be like, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can in a relationship. So, you know, if it don't work out, I don't have to feel bad. You know what I mean? Cause it ain't on me. I did my part. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the fucked up way of thinking and looking at a relationship, man. But you know, after dealing with you know so many women, and you know, they kind of put me in that situation.
Yeah.
To feel like that, you know what I'm saying? I know I got some accountability in there, and that's the part, you know, where I had to sit back and look at my damn self and see what I did or what I do, you know. But that's the problem right there too. A lot of people can't take the responsibility of their own actions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want to play victim to everything.
Yeah.
Everybody a victim right now. That's why everybody's so sensitive. You can't say nothing. Everybody's sensitive because everybody's so sensitive behind, you know, they don't want to take their part in what's going on.
Well, man, you know, it's a difference between playing to win and playing not to lose, right? So many of us play not to lose. And when you play not to lose, it means you ultimately put the control of winning in somebody else's hand. It's kind of like you being on a team and you know you ain't no important player on the team and you just want to play your role and you hoping nothing comes to you and puts you in a situation where it's your decisions that determine the fate of others depending on you, right?
Right.
And playing to win means give me the ball. If I'm up and it's my shot, I've been working hard at this shit and I'm confident and I'm gonna live by my shot, right?
Yeah.
Do or die. So in relationships, man, you know, we from past relationships, like you say, like Erykah Badu talk about bag lady. We bring in that baggage. You see what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
And we can't love the next person because we still see our own selves and faults in the last person. So now we playing not to lose. And see, this is how relationships be working. You know, it's a powerful word about vulnerability. Vulnerability is the soft spot in you. That's the most weakest part of you. So when you go through a bad relationship, that person kind of, they say, took your heart and balled it up. So coming out of that, you build a cage around your vulnerability. And now you got people who vulnerability got fortresses around that motherfucker. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they get in relationships now, and they can have a sincere person, but they don't know how to let people inside. And because they don't know how to let people inside, they start to devalue people who really have the true worthiness of building you. You see what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
So it becomes you that has a problem in relationship building because they said, well, I just can't trust anybody no more. And I'm not to say that a person that says that is wrong, but if you can stand on that, I just got trust issues and I can't trust nobody no more. Well, there's some people in your path that's worthy of being trusted. And because you got trust issues, you're going to miss out on some powerful relationships that's meant to help you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why I say we got to deal with ourselves and understand ourselves.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
And know that everything, like when I deal with myself, and this is me, man, you know, I deal with myself a lot. So I'm confident that everything I touch and become a part of, I add value.
Yeah.
And that value is determined by who I know I really am. I got friends that I call brothers. And there's certain aspects of me that they ain't going to ask me for no money. And not to say that I give it to them or I ain't, but I ain't never been no money type guy to be in that aspect. But a lot of these brothers come because I give them the will, man, the roar in their spirit to fight. And that's enough for a real man in friendship and in our relationships. You see what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
You make me go fight to get it. Because one thing about manhood, you got pride and you got honor. And if I come to you in my most downest moment, I'm not asking you to give me. I'm asking you to help me strengthen myself to fight my fight. Because if I'm strong enough to come out the corner for another round, I just might knock this motherfucker out. And when I do, I thank you for believing in me. So when you build yourself up to understand that and you going into a relationship, now you in position to build relationships. But if you can't stand in that mirror and understand yourself, then you probably always the one with the issues that create bad relationships. And I'm not saying that to be good or bad. That's just how it is.
Yeah, a lot of people say, you know, I done heard a lot of people use it's a defense mechanism or something. You know, you ain't gonna keep nobody keep having your defense up like that right there.
Yeah, hey.
Like you say, somebody, you got to trust somebody. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, everybody ain't out to get you. You know.
Yeah, man. Me and my wife, we knew each other since the 5th grade, right?
Yeah.
We were friends for a long time. And when we got to high school, well, I had left all of high school. I didn't go to high school with her. And I kind of hooked back up with her the week we graduated, just as friends.
Yeah.
And we picked up as friends, and you know, we kicked it like that. But it was a time where she was like, "What are we? What are we? Are we together?" And I said, "Well, one thing I know is you my friend first, right?"
Yeah.
And I felt like, and this was 20-some years ago, I felt like it was superficial to say, okay, on this day right now, we are this, right?
Yeah.
Because we were friends for so long. And I always told her, I say it like this: if it's real, growth manifests. My son is almost 5 feet and a half. I can't tell you through his growth spurts when he went from 3 feet to 4 feet to now. I just realized, like, damn, my boy done got tall as hell. Let me see how tall you is, son.
Yeah.
See, growth is experienced. And when you're experiencing it, it ain't meant for you to recognize it in that sense. So in a relationship of any sort, if you are putting in the work it takes through sincerity, conversation, and all these type of things that make a relationship healthy, that relationship grows. And like with me and her, it came to a point where I realized for myself, I had no desire to conversate with other women in that way. I had no desire to spend time with other women in that way. Now, I also understood that she had to experience that growth within herself. And I wasn't going to put my expectations on her growth because that's the seed of disappointment.
Yeah.
So through growth, we realize, damn, baby, you my baby.
Yeah, I always sit back and check myself, man. You know what I mean? You know, you got to see it from both sides. If not, you know what I mean? That go back to that karma shit. Shit gonna come back on you. You ain't gonna like it.
Hey man, like I say, man.
Especially if you're hard at it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Hey, because it is as real to you as you real to it. Bottom line. It is as real to you as you're real to it. And it's a lot of people who got it fucked up. Yeah. And if you got it fucked up, that's a reflection of how real you is to it. You know what I mean? Bottom line.
Yeah.
You know, why your marriage ain't make it? Man, she was tripping. Man, you know you ain't worth a fuck, man. You know what you do. You see what I'm saying? She know what she do. But once again, man, you know, I put it in God's hand, man. You know, Lord, you know, no. See, like I told you, that's how we use God and Jesus. We want to wash away our accountability.
Man, half the people using God and Jesus, man, they don't even believe in it themselves. If it was a real God, half of these people wouldn't even make it, but they want to criticize you for your opinion. Well, actually, it's not even what opinion. It's what I know. You know what I mean? It's just some people believe, some people don't, and I choose rather not to believe than and know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I know, like I say, I call God nature in her order. You see what I'm saying? And one thing I know is that I need water to survive. I need oxygen to survive. It's a whole lot of things I need to survive. And I I know that shit, and that ain't got to do nothing, I believe. You know what I mean, man? So, you know, like I say, in terms of God, I honor the order, man, that's designed, you know what I mean? And as long as I'm in order, like I say, my God is always good to me, man. And I can show you better than I can tell you. Like you say, cuz it ain't about belief. It's about understanding. It's about knowing. It's about being. You know what I mean?
See, I understand that. I understand that that we walking around with a big ball of fire. You got people over in Africa right now sitting in fire, but you want to tell me my soul gonna burn in hell? I already know better than that. How can a soul burn? Period. It's not even happening. You know what I'm saying? So with all that, I rather do. You know what I mean? I'd rather leave that in the box where they, you know what I'm saying, where they try to put me at.
Yeah, well, all this word games and wordplay because, you know, what have I told you? Hell ain't hot. You see what I'm saying? You know, black people experience our most hellacious time during the winter. You see what I'm saying? During the winter, everything dies. We are people of the sun.
Well, I'm talking about according to the Bible.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even that's what I'm saying.
I'm talking about according to the preacher man, what he teaching in there, and it definitely ain't what you saying right now. We had to research and learn that on our own. They wasn't teaching that shit in no churches, and they wasn't teaching that. You know, you can't just find that shit anywhere if you ain't looking for it. That's why so many people out here are stuck. You know what I mean? If it was everywhere, like you know, I mean, it's you could, if you're looking for it, you can find it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't even understand the text of it.
Hey, cool. I truly believe this, man. I think we all know this shit. We just act like we don't. Like I say, man, we know the sun is the hottest thing in our whole goddamn galaxy, right?
Right.
We know. We can go to
that's their Jesus right there.
Hey, it's June. It's finna be July. Yeah. Everybody that's listening to this probably trying to make their way to the beach at some point within the next month or two. And everybody gonna go out there and see that goddamn sun is a fool on anything that ain't black. And that's the hottest thing we know. So who told us hell is hot? Somehow, some way, the hot is in our favor. We children of the sun. We have cookouts. We have love. This is our season.
Right.
Man.
Right.
This is our season.
I went out there and sat in the sun a day for about 3 hours, man. Just relaxing. You know what I'm saying?
See,
eat me some fruit, drinking me some lemonade.
Yeah, this is our season. So when you understand and you hear about hell is hot, and you already got to know that ain't you saying that shit. Because when it's cold as hell around this motherfucker, a lot of people can die. Just like we talked about Tent City. Tent City this past year. All these homeless people, everybody hard went out in admiration and compassion when we thought about how these homeless people got to sit in this cold ass weather and they may freeze to death.
Yeah.
That's death. But cold. But during the summer, in the hot, ain't nobody in hell. See how they trick your mind. And if you my age and understand some shit, go listen to Pastor Troy, vice versa. You might have thought he was just some crunk shit, but he got some shit to you now.
Well, yeah. If you know anything about the Masons, then you already know it's totally opposite of what the Bible say.
And cuz I'm gonna even break it down. What you gotta understand, and I'm gonna use this as a teaching moment. The story of Jesus is an agriculture story, right?
Oh, I know about both stories.
Yeah. And this is what I want to say. Now, it's a word I want you to look up called personification. That's a 6th grade word in language arts. Personification means to give something non-human human attributes and forms. So it's the story of Jesus is an agriculture story. Jesus represents the sun.
Of course.
But they used personification. And
Jesus was also a ship too that they brought the slaves on.
Well, that's like you say, that's kind of like, that's true, but that's after we understand what we doing now.
Yeah. As far as
thing we want to once you understand what it's about. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm saying as far as it's two other stories versus, you know what I'm saying, what they really believe in. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we're getting deep a little bit, but it's I mean, it's a lot of people that can't understand that right now, and it's, you know what I'm saying, and in the basic form, you got you got all these different stories on Jesus. Period. You got he was a black man. You got he was a son. You know what I'm saying. You got he you know, I know for myself that he's the son. Period. Because it's like you say, it's an agriculture story.
Okay.
It's metaphorical. It's metaphorically done. Yeah. It's all allegory.
But we all know this. Listen, cuz it's simple because Jesus is the son. It's an agriculture story. The son's relation to nature determines your survival, right?
Right.
That's why they say we need Jesus to survive. We need the son to survive. Now, Jesus had 12 disciples. His 12 disciples are the 12 months.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
January, February.
So, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. That's why you got 4 seasons, right?
Right.
So within these 4 seasons is the cycle of the sun, right? So during summer, right now we're in spring. Right now in spring, you have Easter. That say Jesus rose from the dead. Well, a couple of months ago, it was cold as hell outside. Everything was dead. All we saw was death. That was the winter season, right? And this is the cycle. So as Good Friday comes, when they say spring rose from the dead, right now, some of you did it, or if not, you can think about when you did do it or gonna do it. If you go to Lowe's, everybody works in their yard on Good Friday. That means from a farmer's perspective, Good Friday is time to plant your crops, meaning it's time for Jesus to rise up again. You start to see everything start to turn back green. Oh man, I can't wait. It's springtime, the good weather coming. We finna get ready to have a lot of love, right? So as the spring goes into the summer is when he's in his Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit means the harvest. That means, man, my granddaddy done planted these fields, they growing. We out here, we got to work in the sun all day long, getting filled with the Holy Spirit. We got potatoes and cucumbers, all that shit Shirley Caesar said in the song. Oh man, grandmama canning this stuff. Oh man, we wealthy, we rich because we've been working the land in a farming type way. My granddaddy know how to keep us with means to survive, right?
Right.
So listen to me. So as we come out of the summer, we go into the fall. And in the fall is in the story where they start to crucify Jesus. Now we watch the pretty trees begin to wither. We watch all life in Jesus' form begin to wither away, right? So in the fall, everything going down. In the winter, he dead. We watch everything die. And if you ain't get filled with the Holy Ghost and the Holy Spirit from the summer to have a harvest packed away, then your family ain't gonna make it out the winter. You're gonna die. And if you got harvest, then you understand the faith to know as long as the sun season come back, I got faith to know we gonna make it again. See, that's an agriculture story. But in between that, now that's what it's about. Now I can take that story and make my own story any type of way I want. But the point is, the story is to help you survive. And I can tell you right now, I ain't got to use the Bible. I can use any story. The Three Little Pigs is a story that got principles and points in it to help you survive. The Three Little Pigs ain't about pigs. You know pigs can't goddamn talk and walk, just like you know can't no goddamn man walk on the water. You know all of this shit that ain't true, but you also understand in the Three Little Pigs that if you make your house of brick, then the big bad wolf can't huff and puff and blow shit down.
Yeah, you and I both understand that, but
I believe in us, cuz we all understand it. They just ain't never heard it.
No, it's people that really, that literally take it, you know what I mean, take it literally. They
and
really
after they
believe.
watch this episode of Manhole,
and they really believe.
Some seeds in here. There's some seeds in this episode of Manhole that's gonna wake a lot of brothers and sisters up to see themselves in their right perspective and order.
Well, you know, a lot of people done heard that before. They just don't believe it.
Well, hey, look, they ain't never heard it from us, cuz that's what the Manhole is about.
Yeah, that's what the Manhole about. But like I'm saying, is they really they caught up on some bullshit, man. And no matter what you say, it's gonna goddamn. It's a lot of people out there that's not gonna, you know what I mean.
Well, like I say, cuz, and I say this again too. Just like we talked about in the relationship part, you are what you attract. Like I say, brother, right now, anybody that's listening to me and you talk, brother, they make the difference. One at a time will multiply enough to change the narrative, man. You know what I'm saying? If one sister hears this who thought she didn't need a man and understand now that she can't be in order in nature without that balance. If one sister hear this, if one brother hear this, like I say, bro, hey, peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if one, I mean, you know, if we could reach one, and yeah, that's cool. But it's gonna take more than one. It's gonna take more because you know what I'm saying, like. Now I commend you heard about what's his name? I believe his name Devin King down there in Georgia.
No, I ain't heard about him.
Yeah, man. How he took on them. He got he opened up a school for boys. So you know what I mean. I'm not sure if he got girls in it or not. Right now they're on a camping trip. He took them all camping, man. He doing all this shit out of his own pocket, man. You know what I'm saying? Him and the little kids. He let the kids stay in his house, and he raised them up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they coming out of jail, and they ain't been back yet.
Yeah,
you know he teaching them, you know what I mean? He teaching them manhood, teaching them all kind of shit. You know what I mean? Those the kind of people that we, you know what I mean? Those are the kind of people that we need. You know, in our corner like that, because a lot of people, man, they just sitting back and they waiting on the government to fuck with them, and they counting on bullshit that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, cool. Well, you know,
like just like I say, that religion, man, that it's a lot of people sitting back taking it literal, like, you know, they waiting on God to come back so before they get their reward.
Yeah. Well, like I say, cuz. Yeah, I know who you talking about now. You talking about dude got the school for the boys' school of X. Yeah. But like you say, we need more like him, bro. We are more like him. There's many like him that ain't gonna get on TV. I'm like him. You like him. Right. Every brother I come in contact with, I have an impact on. Like I say, man, dude told me the other day, man. I remember. Me and my wife, we've been married for 13 years. And during the time we got married, I got married, it was like a whole momentum of cousins and friends. All of us got married. And it's only 2 of us left. And one of them called me on his anniversary. And I say, man, we still fighting a good fight, man. I'm thankful, man. And he told me, he said, well, I got to give my last 5 years to you. I said, what you mean, man? Don't give it to me. What the hell you talking about? He said, well, man, we was on outs one time and I was done, but I came to talk to you. And I don't even know if you really understood the severity of it, but you asked me a question and you said, do she really love you? And I had to drive from your house and chew on that. And the more and more I chewed on it, I realized she really do love me. And it's a matter of both of them not understanding how to really love because they ain't never saw love. But when they understood that, that was enough understanding for him to fight, man. And him and his children and his family are together. So as much as Kevin King can start a school for boys.
Yeah, Kevin.
You see what I'm saying, man? And that's all good. But what I'm saying is us as an individual right now got the power for each other. We all we got, we all we need. And anybody that got me like I got them, brother, like I say, that in us as individuals is as powerful in any idea that we can think of as a solution. You see what I'm saying? So I might not make a school for boys, but I got hero training. And I train with you and many other powerful brothers. Yeah. And just like me and you, we come together right now to make a show on the manhole. And this manhole show can plant seeds to change a momentum and revolution amongst just our family. People that sincerely love me and love you to watch us. And even if they've been thinking for years, man, them niggas be talking crazy. If I got their ear tonight, I know I put something on you that you got to chew on.
Yeah.
I know it, cuz. And I believe in them that they can get it because I think they already know it. They just scared to acknowledge it. And
yeah, that's my point. That's my point of saying what I said earlier about they, you know, how can we burn in hell? That's the fear. That's the fear that's holding them back from understanding who the hell they are. You know what I mean? That's the fear that's keeping them from loving themselves and you know what I mean, and really enjoying life. It's the fear of that when they die, they got either determined, you know, a choice to make between heaven or hell, and the choice ain't even theirs.
Yeah.
You know, and the way they living, you know what I'm saying, if they want to look at it, they ain't gonna make it no way if they going by, but you know what I'm saying, if they going by supposedly like Christianity or whatever, if you really live by that book, to be honest with you though, man, you taking your ass to goddamn jail.
Hey, look, hey, cuz, I've been scared of some things before in my life that I ain't scared of no more.
Yeah,
I got some fears I got to deal with. So like I say, ain't nobody above the bullshit, but I believe in us, man. I believe in us. And just like it's certain things that's happening in nature that's going to destroy a lot of those things. Like I say, man, like I say, with the internet coming out, like I say, you go Google Jesus and John. You look at them pictures. Then you ask yourself, why all these priests in the Catholic Church keep fucking all these little boys? It's a history of that. The Pope. Then you ask yourself all of these questions. See, now everybody got a phone in their hand, cuz. We got weapons and tools to where it ain't about going searching for books no more. Now the shit come to you. See, it's all about planting the seed, man. And when they go see that, man, that shit, man, they got to deal with that.
First thing they need to do is turn their goddamn TV off, man. They turn their TV off and quit being fed all these different, you know, all this bullshit. And I'm gonna tell you, your Facebook and all these different social media sites ain't no goddamn better. They all feeding that shit, man. Anything that got to do with entertainment is feeding some bullshit narratives right now, playing with people's head. Yeah. And that's what's got them confused because everybody want to be entertained right now. Yeah. Everybody want to party. That's why they you know, they with this Juneteenth thing. You know what I'm saying? You could pass a crime bill for the Asians, but you gonna try to give us a Juneteenth a holiday that you probably gonna be, you know, probably gonna stalk us at cookouts and shit to see who drive away drunk and all this shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? They love to see black people party so they can lock our asses up. You know what I mean? Yeah. they know somebody gonna cut a food. They drink too goddamn much.
Yeah, you know how it go.
Yeah, man. I'm saying, you know, if that was the case, that shit should have been done a long time ago. And to me, it's just a slap on the hand.
Yeah. You know how it go, man. Like I say, you know, when it comes to that June 19th, man, black people want reparations, you know what I mean? And they know that, and they know real black people know what that shit mean. And niggas want anything just to feel accepted. So they throw some niggas a holiday, and like you say, look up the definition of celebrate. And in the definition of celebrate, it's a religious aspect of that definition. And so, like we've been talking about on the show, we're going to thank Jesus for June 19th, 1865. But what we don't understand is that in January 1st, 1863, President Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, passed a proclamation. Well, how you say it? Proclamation. Yeah, how you say that?
Yeah, you said.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I like to miss the words a little bit. I can't do it, but when he passed that, slavery was officially ended on January 1st, 1863. See, that's the real reason black people to this day celebrate New Year's, because on that New Year was a new year in America. Black people wasn't going to be slaves no more. So that's why we pop firecrackers and we celebrate with the white folk on New Year's, because we celebrate the new year of America. But for 2.5 years, you had deep Southern slave owners who said, fuck the Union, because this was after the Civil War. They said, fuck the Union. We ain't letting our slaves go. We're going to hold them. And if you want us to let them go, and you come and you make us let them go. So for 2.5 years, with them knowing that black people were supposed to be free, they said, fuck that. They ain't free till you going to make us let them free. So on June 19th, the last cold-hearted, stuck-down white man said, okay, goddamn, y'all done sent the army to my doorstep. I'm going to let them go. And then they said, okay, this is the real day. So that day is more about the rebellious white men who had slaves than it is about being goddamn free. Because we were free 2.5 years ago. And if America was real about it then, they'd have sent the troops out then to say, let them motherfuckers go. But it get even deeper than that, because my granddaddy was born in 1929. And I asked him, I said, well, granddaddy, what did your grandparents? Now I say his grandparents tell you about slavery, because they had to been close remnants of it.
Right.
He told me, he said, they ain't have to tell me nothing. I knew about it. I said, how you knew about it, granddad? Slavery was over about 100 years by the time you was born. He said, and my granddad from Waysboro, that's your uncle. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, it didn't end. They just called it something different.
Right.
They called it sharecropping. So we still stayed on the same white folk land, and we still work for free. And he come down there and let us know we better have his shit, or goddamn, now he say he gonna kick our ass out. We ain't have nothing. So it's all a mind game.
Yeah, because you know when they set them free, you know, a lot of blacks didn't have nowhere to go. You know what I mean? A lot of them went right back to the plantation to work and try to have shelter and shit.
Yeah, so like I say, man, if you don't understand, man, you subject to be trapped in confusion. And as long as I got you subject in being confused, then my solutions are always right. You see what I'm saying, man? If you bring me your car and I know you in confusion about what's going on, and I'm your only means of understanding, then anything I say is right in the moment. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I tell you, you can need a battery. I say you need an alternator and all this shit. And you say, yeah. So as long as you in confusion, I always got the solution. So that's the game they play on our mind. Right. And we think June 19th is something for us to celebrate.
Right.
That's more about the rebellious white man than it is freeing the last little bit of slaves who had the hardest, coldest slave masters. That it took the military, the Union Army, because the Union Army had just kicked the whole Confederate Army ass in the Civil War. And that was based off one group of white folks saying, hey man, these are people, man, let them go. The other white folks say, fuck what you talking about. These people, we survive off the back of these people. You can't take our survival away from us. So they had a war.
Yeah, a lot of them died for that shit. Yeah.
They had a war based on that.
Yeah, they got a movie about it.
Yeah, Uncle Tom's Cabin. And I'm going to tell you this, I don't know what movie you talking about, but Uncle Tom's Cabin, it's a scene in there when Tom had the good little white family that sold him off because the daddy got killed. But when the boy came back and found Tom and realized that they had done fucked Tom up and killed Tom, he beat the other white man ass. And they was like, how dare you beat another white man ass out of compassion for a black man? And even though that was a story, Harriet Beecher Stowe, who wrote that story, was told by, I want to say, Abraham Lincoln, that your book incited the Civil War. That was the idea that created the Civil War, was one white man had empathy for the suffering of the black man and the other one didn't. And they were war about that shit.
Yeah, then that's how the Democrat and Republicans would start. Yeah, it's a lot of, yeah.
But yeah, cool. We tapped out, cool.
Yeah. I'm over here lifted right now. My camera went out on me, man. I'm gonna have to find another battery. Give me another battery. Probably go down there in the morning and check it out. But yeah. We touched on something deep, man. I'll just say it's both sides. It's two sides to it. Like you know what I'm saying. I know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying. I mean, we done been here several times before with the convo. You know what I mean? And we done got deeper than this before.
Yeah.
I really wish I had I don't know how I lost a lot of videos, man. I don't know how I lost them. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign us out. It's the Manhole.
Hold it down. One love, baby. See you next week.